Thank you. I think the most important thing that you said there was I know how to zipper merge. Thank you very much. Yeah, like you said, Ryan Leonard, New York Life insurance agent of the group. And I guess here's a little presentation on what I do. Okay, so first, a little bit about me since I last presented. I got married, so that's wedding picture on the left there. And then another highlight of this year is I got my own office in the Bridgewater Place just a few weeks ago, so that's pretty exciting. Otherwise, this summer's just consisted of lake days and golf, so pretty chill there. Quick little recap, I guess, on how I approach my business is relationships first and solutions second. And I like to keep it, relationships first because I think that money is very emotional. So if I can connect with you and have a personal relationship with you and have, good conversations, then I think that is the most important part over any solution that we come across. And of course, we'll get to the solution still, but. And then a quick recap of some of the things that I do as far as insurance planning. Individuals, families, business owners, those are all people I work with. So family planning, retirement planning, business planning, key person insurance, buy-sell agreements, long-term care, covering the unknown expenses that come in retirement, the whole works. So, but that's not what I want to focus on today. Today I want to focus on something that I haven't really discussed too much since I've been in the group, and that would be the topic of non-market correlated assets and some of the products that we offer that I guess correlate with this. So what do I mean by that? And that is assets that are not correlated to the performance of the stock market. And some product examples, I guess, would be whole life insurance, cash value, fixed deferred annuities, which are contractually guaranteed through the insurance company, guaranteed income products, so income annuities, and then other cash value life insurance, where we can take advantage of the non-market correlation there. And the reason I bring this up is because I've been working with a lot of people, seems like the last few months, that have come to me and they have vast majority of their assets in retirement plans, which is good, but as far as diversification goes, it's not great. It could be better. So I bring up non-market correlation because I guess I'm thinking of one instance where I had a lady come in and she's a great saver, lives below her means. She's been putting 20% into her employer plan, and she has like $1.5 million in it, and she's 53, I think. So tremendous sum of money there. But we were talking about it, and she's like, yeah, well, when I retire, I'm going to be relying on that asset for pretty much all of my retirement income. I don't know if I want to take Social Security right away. I'm not really sure if it's going to be there. So, I think it will be, but, people are emotional with, their money. So we were trying to figure out ways that she doesn't have to rely on that asset for all of her retirement income. So I guess feeding off that, the significance of non-market correlated assets would be to reduce your reliance on the stock market. We all know that the stock market has been going up and down like 1-2% every single day. And for us, it's probably fine, but for the average retiree, they're kind of having headaches over it. And like I said, money's very emotional. So if they're stressed out that, if there's a 15% dip in the market and they're relying on that asset for their income, they're going to be hurting. Provides income flexibility. Won't go into that. I kind of just briefed over that. Manage unexpected expenses. So, like I said, if you're relying on a lot of your income from your employer plan, nothing necessarily wrong, but what happens if there's an unexpected expense? You have to go to the hospital, have a surgery, and now you're in retirement and you have to draw additional taxable income to cover those expenses. It doesn't necessarily feel great when you do that. And then strengthen the overall plan just by combining growth-oriented assets and guarantees with what you already have in place. So I want to be clear that this isn't to replace your retirement plan or replace what's in the market. It's in addition to. So how does this fit into a retirement plan? You have your market-based assets. Everybody has, well, most people have some type of employer plan. So 401ks or 403bs, whatever it is. IRAs, brokerage accounts, stock bonds, mutual funds, growth assets. But then we would look to pair this with something that is non-market correlated, like I've been mentioning here. So fixed annuities. I see a lot of people doing that, a lot of retirees come in and say, Ryan, the stock market has been performing, very volatile. My bond portion is not doing what I'd like it to be doing, and I just want to know that I'm going to make 4 or 5% with some of the money that's in my bond portion of my portfolio. So I guess depending, and it's all situational, but depending on what you're in, we can try to replace some of that with a fixed asset. We can guarantee, I think right now rates are around 5%. We can guarantee that for 8 years. So for 8 years, that individual is going to be, a lot better off knowing that they have a stable return that they can count on. Income annuities too. I mean, Social Security is kind of controversial nowadays. People come in and they're like, Ryan, is Social Security going to be there? I mean, I think so, but I guess I don't know. I don't know. I mean, maybe not for me, but I think for you it will be. But so they're saying, well, if I have $2 million in my retirement plan, can I replace some of that with a guaranteed pension? Can we put something up so I can have the same payment throughout the rest of my retirement? And then, of course, whole life cash value, guaranteed income sources. I already touched on those a little bit. And once again, why combine them? So something that we talk about in New York Life is the macro balance strategy. We want to have good tax and risk diversification as far as your assets. So if you have everything in one quadrant, I guess I should have included a little illustration of that, but if you have everything in pre-tax variable, then you're not necessarily diversified. So avoid relying entirely on the market for retirement income is a reason why we would combine them, creating another place to draw during downturns, and then help cover unexpected expenses and add guarantees and liquidity. So just some reasons why we like to merge some of these things here, and I'll get to another example in a second. Okay, so I guess that's the second right now. So an example I'm thinking of is I had a couple who was, they had a couple extra IRAs from old employers, and they have a good sum of money for where they're at, and they're like, these were some of the individuals who weren't so sure on Social Security. So they came to me and they said, Ryan, we don't believe that Social Security is going to be there at all. When we retire in a number of years, what can we do to replace that? So we took one of the IRAs, put them in an income annuity, and when they get to retirement, they can flip the switch, and now they have income coming in for the rest of their life, no headaches. So they know that that's going to be there. If Social Security is going to be there, then we're going to add Social Security on top of that. And of course, they're going to take withdrawals from their employer plans, and then they also have some cash value life insurance that their grandparents set up for them long ago. So that couple is kind of the ideal situation there. They have income that they know they can count on coming from many different places. So whether the market's up or down, of course, we'd all like it to be up, but whether or not it is, they have income they can draw from a number of different places. And I don't know if you guys are aware of like whole life cash value, but that's tied to the insurance company and can pay you dividends, and you can withdraw that tax-free in a lot of cases and pay for those unexpected expenses. So, I guess to tie it all together, not everybody is going to have one certain product that fits their need. And it's not necessarily any certain products I'm trying to drive. It's just the idea of having your market-correlated assets, that grow, of course, with everything you're invested in, and then the non-market-correlated assets that you can rely on, when when the unexpected happens. So having options is what everybody wants. And a lot of conversations, once again, I have are around the emotion of money. So people will come in and they're like, I'm not sure how I feel about this. I don't know, about the current president, or I don't know about Social Security. I mean, who knows what it is that people come in and are worrying about, but people just want to feel safe and secure and want to know that they're going to have multiple sources of income that they can draw from and multiple buckets of money to dip into no matter what the situation is. So I guess as far as people I would like to be introduced to, this would be people who say, I'm thinking of retiring in 5 to 10 years. Or like I said earlier, a lot of people have most of their money in their retirement plan. So for somebody who says, all my income or all my money is sitting in my 401k, that's pretty common, especially with pensions not being around anymore. And I'm nervous about another market downturn because that's happening like every week or I don't know, every other week. I want more predictable income in retirement. And I don't want to sell investments when the market is down, because when you sell when the market is down, you're not only is your portfolio going to be down, but you're realizing those losses. So it just, once again, doesn't feel great for the emotions. And I'm worried about a long-term care or unexpected expense. Another common thing that we see with people heading into retirement or in retirement, they don't necessarily want to drain any of their market-correlated assets, or just the largest chunk of money. So what can we do to, I guess, prep for that? So that's all I had today. Just I guess, who do you know that would benefit from having some of these conversations about how to diversify their portfolio and I guess feel a little bit better about their current situation? So, Ryan, Leonard, New York Life.